Guess what the most influential thing for the founding fathers was? The Bible. Guess where they got their ideas? The Bible. And by the way, to go further, if you actually start reading the founders' writings, they actually tell you where these ideas come from. They'll quote the literal verses that shaped the way they thought about those issues. The problem is today that most of our thinking of America or the founding fathers has come from a modern academic narrative, not from going back and, for example, reading the letters of George Washington or John Adams or Thomas Jefferson. No, we haven't actually read those letters. And if you go back to the letters of George Washington, there's more than 100 books containing just the letters of George Washington. So this dude wrote a lot of letters, and he was pretty clear in a lot of areas what he thought, what shaped his thinking, his influences. And even if you go through, for example, his military career, the American Revolution, he actually encouraged all of his officers to go to church because he said we need to set the proper example for our soldiers, because what is the most important thing for our soldiers is that they are good Christian soldiers. And he encouraged that all of them be Christian, because he also explained in other letters that we cannot risk doing anything that would offend the Almighty, because we are too reliant on his help in this endeavor. And without his intervention, we will not succeed. Well, that's not a secular guy. That's someone saying, we know we have to have God's help. Without God's help, we're not going to defeat the number one power in the world at that time, the Great Britain military. But again, even though this is very clear in his writings and letters, most people have never read their writings and letters. And so we form our opinions based on the modern narrative, and the modern narratives are not necessarily, and maybe even not usually historically correct, but most people haven't taken the time to study history well enough to recognize how incorrect the modern narrative actually is.
Well, and I would also guess, especially based off of reading your book and then some of the research I did after it, that it wasn't just a general reference to a God or to God. It was Jesus Christ.